A quick note on how I stay grounded while traveling as a digital nomad. One of the things that's super important to me is knowing what I'm doing, having a plan. And the way I do this is through journaling. This is my journal, got it in Argentina. So I found a beautiful view. I love the ocean, the sound of the waves. It's very meditative for me. So I took the time to do some journaling and plan for tomorrow and the rest of my day. This it's also my checklist. There's a few things I wanted to get done today, so I prioritized them. Got a few of them done. I also just got done working. This was my office of the day, this beautiful view. And now I'm about to eat. I got some healthy food. Your food is your fuel, so you want it to be healthy. This is conducive for your overall mental well-being and physical well-being, so super important. So a few things that keep me grounded while I'm traveling as a digital nomad. I love this scene because there's so much of it put together in one. First, the sound of the ocean waves crashing. I'm a beach boy. I absolutely love it, and I am right here next to the crashing wave. Number two, journaling. I use it as an outlet to get my monkey mind on paper. You can see it's just a bunch of chicken scratch. Just to get everything out of my head, all of the things that are bothering me or playing or I'm ruminating about. If I can get it on paper, I can get it out of my head. So it lets me get some distance from it and focus on what's truly important. And it helps me size my problems correctly. In my head, they could seem like a big deal, but on paper, I can see an easy solution because there's that space between me. I also did work today as a digital nomad. It's important to be productive and earn an income that allows you to travel. So I made sure before I did any filming or any journaling, I did some work. So now I got done with my work sprint. I like to work, which like I like to think about it like a lion hunting, where they go real, real hard, they eat, and then they take a long break. That's how I like to work. Sprints and breaks, peaks and valleys. So, got that done as well. On to my next step. I'm about to get some food. I just ordered. I'm going to be here at this beautiful view as well. Very important to eat nutritious. Earlier, I had grilled chicken, a salad, and then it came with fries and rice, but I didn't finish all of the carbs. I try not to eat carbs until later in the day. It makes me sleepy, and I knew that I was going to have to be productive and that I wasn't going to be able to take a nap. So I passed on the carbs and I had an espresso instead. And finally, as a digital nomad, I get the opportunity to travel quite often. And I like to travel to beautiful places. Here in Rio de Janeiro, you get a bunch of beautiful things. You get the beach, the sunshine, the cheap prices, the culture. So much goodness comes in one adventure. So putting all of this together, helping me stay grounded. Now I have a plan for tomorrow. I got my work done for today. I'm about to eat healthy again. And later I have a social obrigado. Check it out. I just got some steak. And these look like some sort of beans. This is fried plantain. This looks like maybe breadcrumbs and an egg. So very healthy meal, right? Keeps me grounded, keeps me strong. I haven't had the chance to work out today, but that's also one of the things that keeps me grounded is constant, regular exercise. I see it as an outlet in order for me to release my stress. And I like to think of as a digital nomad, it's important to travel as a lifestyle, right? It's important to prioritize your health if you're going to be constantly traveling as a digital nomad. If you stay up late every night and you're drinking every day, you're skipping the gym, and you're not taking care of your basics, having a constant sleep schedule, eating healthy, meditating, journaling, exercise, getting sunlight first thing in the morning, while traveling as a digital nomad, it's super easy to overlook all of these things. But these are the foundation to a happy, healthy, wealthy life. If you get rid of these foundations because you're traveling and you're on vacation and these are no longer your priority, then it's not going to be sustainable as a lifestyle. It's going to be a vacation. And although vacations are enjoyable, and you need a break every now and then, if you're going to be traveling for prolonged periods constantly, then it's super important that you make the foundations of your health non-negotiable. That's why I'm drinking water, eating healthy food, journaling, enjoying the beautiful view. I got a lot of sunshine today. First thing I did in the morning was go to the beach, swam a little. I did some other journaling. I have a habits journal that I'm working through because I'm very curious to see how my habits are affected by my travels, right? It's super easy to set up your environment when you are in a single location, but when you are traveling, it's much more difficult because your environment's constantly changing. So I intentionally brought my journal, my habits journal slash workbook, in order to work through some of these challenges, such as a changing environment. Harder to set your cues to be constant that trigger the habit loop. So that's going on. These are some tips that I'm doing to stay grounded. Again, very important to prioritize your foundations of the health. Eating correctly, sleeping at a regular time, a consistent exercising, being social, making sure you're getting your work done. Because if you want to sustain this as a lifestyle, then it's important that you have these routines, these systems, right? James Clear in Atomic Habits says that we don't rise to the level of our aspirations, we fall to the level of our systems. When our willpower breaks, our systems is what catches us. And sometimes systems are automation, technology, right? I do this with my investing. Today, I invested in Bitcoin. It is took a fall from its peak, about a 50% dip from its previous peak. So I have an automation where every 2 weeks I buy Bitcoin. Today I bought some. I have an automation where every 2 weeks I invest in the S&P 500. This happened a few days ago. So my willpower is irrelevant. I am creating systems to help me be my best self and stop me from being my worst self. And sometimes these systems take the place of habits. Sometimes it's habit formation, such as for me, journaling. I love to journal and plan. This is something that is harder for me not to do than it is for me to do. That's how you know that it's become a habit, when it's easier for you to do the thing than not to do the thing. The other day, I found myself exhausted, tired, short on time, stressed, and I decided to go to the gym, even though I was running low on time and I had a bunch of other things to do, because I've realized that going to the gym helps me manage my stress levels, gives me time to think, and it allows me to release my stress in a productive manner rather than ruminating or exploding on people or just sitting in the stress. Not good for me. I'd rather go to the gym, lift some fucking heavy weight, get it out of my system, and then come back to the problem and face it with a renewed mind, with a refreshed mind. So, very important to create systems and habits to override your willpower. And another theme that's occurring here is financial discipline as well. It's a wonderful thing to be able to travel and to work remotely and be a digital nomad. But if you don't have control over your finances, it can be the thing to stop you from progressing, from saving, from growing, from investing, from building a future. I don't recommend blowing all of your money, blowing all of your savings because you're on vacation. And when are you ever going to travel again? If we want to live the lifestyle as a digital nomad, super important that you prioritize finances as well. If you want this to be a sustained lifestyle for you, then you're going to have to save money, invest money, and make money, grow your income potential. One of the systems that I have to make sure that I'm always earning more money is a learning fund. Every time I get a paycheck, I set up an automation to automatically send 10% of my income to a separate sub savings account I call my learning fund. The goal of this learning fund is to buy skills that increase my earning potential. Once my earning potential gets increased, then I can make more money, which gives me more money in my learning fund, which increases my earning potential, which makes me more money, which puts even more money in my learning fund. And then this flywheel takes off and spins and it grows exponentially. That's another example of me using my systems over my willpower. It's an automation. I use technology to do it. I don't ever have to think about it. If there's ever a time that I want to learn a new skill or buy a book or pay for a coach or do an online course, then I have a budget for that. Currently, it's somewhere between $4,000 to $6,000 in my learning fund, and I'm not afraid to use it. If ever there's a book that I want to read or a skill that I want to learn, then I have that budget set aside for it. And it's very important that this learning fund is used to increase my earning potential. This is a flywheel. It's a hard filter that I've placed on myself to make it easier to make decisions. If this thing does not increase my earning potential, then I cannot use my learning fund on it. I have to use my guilt-free spending money instead. So there is that hard distinction. Another example of using a system or a process in order to help make these decisions and make my life easier. So I think the final thing that I want to touch on is identity-based habits, routines, and decision making. One of the themes that is coming up here, oh yeah, is that I'm making decisions. Whoa. Can you see that? I'm making decisions based on the person I intended to become. My habits are based on identity. I want to be somebody who's strong as fuck, who's disciplined, who's a master of their craft, who is high status and social being, has a vast net worth, masters of their own craft. So I make my decisions based on this identity of being a master of myself, master of my emotions. Identity-based habits, decisions, processes is something that's been extremely helpful for me. It acts as a decision filter so that I can avoid my worst self, my lower self, if I'm ever feeling unmotivated and undisciplined. Then I think, who is the person that I want to become? What would that hurt? What decision would that person make in this situation? And even though I'm not feeling too motivated at the moment, that person would make this decision. So it makes it a lot easier for me to know what decision I should default to. Even if I can't accomplish that action, I at least know the correct direction that I should be aiming for, that I should be going for. So decide, who is it that you want to be? I do an exercise called the person I intend to become. And it's a writing or a journaling exercise. Sometimes I just speak it into a voice recorder, and then I transcribe it, feed it to AI, ask it to give me action items. But I take 15 to 30 minutes, and then I just riff. I just go off. I rant. The person that I intend to become, where I want to be, what some of my goals are, the identity that I want to embody, and it makes decision making clear. Now that I have a direction that I want to go towards, it makes it easier for me to go towards that direction. You can't set a GPS if you don't know where you're going. So you need to have a destination or an order for you to go in that direction. There's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's the part of your brain that filters out 99.99% of things. Because there's a lot going on, right? There's people walking around, there's the waves crashing, there's different conversations going on. When you're walking on the streets, there's cars going by. So you have to ignore most things. And there's a specific part of your brain that ignores most things called the reticular activating system. You can train your RAS system to look for specific things. For example, for me, it's opportunities to increase my income, or opportunities to network with masters of their craft, or opportunities for me to become dangerous as fuck, whether that's Brazilian jiu-jitsu or weapons training or persuasion and influence. By doing this exercise of the person that I intend to become, I know that these are things that I want to embody as my identity. Easier for me to make identity-based decisions because my reticular activating system has been trained to look for these specific things via this exercise of the person I intend to become. Obrigado. Learning a little Portuguese, right? In Rio, I speak Spanish fluently. It was my first language, so got a little head up. Bom dia. So got a little head start. Ooh, looks like it started sprinkling over here. I'll show you real quick what I'm surrounded by. Bunch of people walking by. I'm at a fort. This is one of the forts in Rio de Janeiro. I'm at a peak of the Rio de Janeiro. There's a mountain. There's like little trolleys going up and forth. The city. These are the waves crashing that I was talking about. Rio de Janeiro, the favelas in the background over here, the beach, helicopter tours going on up here. Wait, wow. Looks like everyone's leaving because it's starting to sprinkle. Ooh, maybe I should too. So, train your reticular activating system, your RAS system, by figuring out the person that you intend to become. By putting all of these things together, it'll help you stay grounded and make travel a lifestyle, not a one-off thing, not a vacation. Yeah, I think that's it for today. I'm going to be in Rio de Janeiro for about 2 weeks, and then I'm going to go to Sao Paulo for 2 weeks. Rio de Janeiro for Carnival. I'm going to be here for Carnival. Super stoked for that. Then Rio de Janeiro, I'm going for a Bad Bunny concert. So super excited to see Bad Bunny in Sao Paulo. And then who knows where I'm going to go from there? Somewhere in Brazil. I'm going to be in Brazil for 3 months. And then I'll likely hit a different part of Latin America for another 3 months. So 6 months total on the road as a digital nomad. And these are some tips that I use to stay grounded as a digital nomad. If this has been helpful, comment, like, subscribe, send this to a friend who needs some wisdom, some advice, some guidance on staying grounded, being productive, and being the person that they intend to become. Remember, if you want to be a digital nomad, it's about the systems and processes, the lifestyle, and the identity, not the one-off parties, not the scarcity of going to events or staying up late or partying because you may never get the opportunity again. No, if you do this correctly, this can be a lifestyle. I live in Los Angeles, California as my home base, much more expensive than most parts of the world. So I'm saving money by being abroad because I have financial discipline, because of geo-arbitrage, because of identity-based habits. I'm able to spend my money on health and becoming the person that I intend to be. That's all for today. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.